What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Allison Chorro. So Allison has been a member at a couple of our gyms. She started at Roseland with her husband, Rob. She's now kind of bouncing back and forth between Roseland and Denville because she lives in Denville. And she's another one of those perfect people to have on because she's dealing with a zoo at home between all the kids she's got going on. So Allison, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So let's just start with you. Basic background. What do you do? Who are you? What got you into fitness? Give me some background on you.
All right. Yes. So like you said, I have come to a few different gyms because I live right here in Denville. So this location's been great for us. But I am a mom of now 3 kids, which sounds crazy to continue saying that. So yeah, I have a 5.5-year-old son, a 2.5 going on 20-year-old daughter, and I have a new guy at home. So Callum is 3, almost 4 months.
Okay.
So yeah, so life is chaotic. I am currently enjoying every minute of my maternity leave.
Let's go.
So for now, I'm just a stay-at-home mom with the baby, with the kids in school and daycare. But come January, I'll also have to identify as a working mom of 3, which will be chaotic. When I do work, I work for Zillow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of them, the housing app. So yeah, so I do sales, rental sales for them. So the cool thing is I work from home full time, which makes it a lot easier balancing life. But I travel a lot, so there's always a caveat to working from home.
Sure.
It's not ever just being home all the time. And let's say, fitness-wise, I've been a competitive swimmer from the very beginning. My mother, we grew up in a lake community, and my mom threw my sister and I in the lake at like 4 years old. So we started swimming there. So I feel like that's driven my endurance now as an adult CrossFitter, swimming. But I've been into the CrossFit scene since like 2012-ish. Okay. So it's been a while. I was living in the city at the time, and I was doing random classes. Funny enough, Rob and I met at a gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah, doing like a sports conditioning class at a New York sports club on the Upper East Side.
Oh, 2012?
No, so we met. Yeah, actually, we met pretty much around that time.
I ran a sports performance class at a New York sports club, but in Livingston. So it might have been like their thing. They had like a little strip of turf they would put in, right?
Well, this was a New York City gym, so
That's
space
true.
didn't really allow for turf. But yeah, like a very gender neutral kind of class. So I met him there. But anyway, then I was friends with some girls who ran, and then my sister did a CrossFit competition, and I was like, I could do that. And so then I got into it from there and kind of have bounced around to a few different gyms just for, honestly, location and logistics wise, because I've moved from New York City to Bloomfield to now being here in Denville.
Yeah, that's right. So is your sister's Allison?
Melissa.
Right? Melissa, sorry.
Yep.
Melissa, how is she older or younger?
She's 2.5 years older.
Okay. So you were like watching her like I could do that.
Yeah, well, it was like I swam up until college. And so I did like a semester on the swim team, but then just kind of wanted to like live my life. So I stopped. And then like any college kid, I lost like a passion for fitness, didn't know what to do. And then honestly, for a long time, it was just like going into New York sports clubs, like not knowing what I was doing, trying to figure out my own thing at the gym, which is why I started taking those classes.
Yeah.
Then I became friends with runners, and I learned pretty quickly that I didn't really like running, but like it was like a communal thing, so I would go on a run with them. But I have a very competitive side to me. And so when I saw what my sister was doing, it was like, it fueled my competitiveness way more than just trying to like beat someone at a 2-hour half marathon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool because that's also what got me into it was like I didn't like running. And, you know, you were a swimmer, right? I was a wrestler. It's not like basketball or football where you're going to get into like a men's league of swimming, right? Or there's no men's league wrestling, JJ. I don't know if you know that. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? And you're just kind of like wandering aimlessly around. And it's also interesting because it's like when you're an athlete, you grow up your whole life with essentially someone telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
you just show up to practice, and it's like you probably showed up to the pool in high school and it was like, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. And you just did it. And so you get done and it's like, all right, well, if you don't have someone telling you what to do, it's like the first time in your life, fitness wise, where it's like, okay, I have to figure this out for myself.
Yeah. And I didn't necessarily, like, that's why I would go into a gym and I didn't ever know what I would do with like their equipment, you know? And so it was kind of like you'd do things that I was like, I don't know if this is working what I want to be, but what I've loved about CrossFit coming into it is it's in 1 hour, I get absolutely everything that I need, which when I was running, it was like, depending on the distance I was running or what it was, like you can't shorten a 10-mile run more than you can run faster, which isn't theoretically possible. Plus I just found I wasn't becoming strong in doing all of that. And I liked the strength component of it. And like I said, the competitive drive for me, as soon as I saw her compete, I was just like that, and of course I looked around at the room and I said, I could probably beat a few of these people. And that's,
look at these bums, I could take them down.
And then, and that's just kind of, so I've been doing that ever since. And shortly after I started it, Rob did too. So it just became also something that we did together, which just made it, and as you know now, my family is like a gym family. So it's all just made it much easier to keep consistent.
Yeah. And so transitioning to more life now, those were like two of the main things I wanted to touch on with you was, so we recently had Stacy Albert. So she's also a member here, and we kind of talked about working out during her pregnancy. So I want to kind of go over that with you, and you can even talk about maybe some of the differences between Maddox, Esme, and Callum, right? Whether there was or there wasn't, but also is because I wanted to kind of go over how you guys manage working out with the kids, because JJ, you don't know, but like, I've spent a lot of time at Roseland and the whole crew is coming in. It's like you just see Allison and Rob toting 2 kids, a swing, a diaper bag, a mat. And it's just like they go in the corner. And to your credit, right, like we try to be very family friendly at our gyms. And you probably don't know this, but like I use you guys as an example because it's like I got no problem with kids coming in, but it's when they run amok that it becomes a problem. And so like Allison and Rob park themselves in the corner. They try to like create a barrier around the kids, and that is what it is. So, but let's talk about pregnancy first. So what was taking class like during your pregnancy, difficulties, things you didn't expect, kind of maybe touch on Maddox, Esme, and then Callum.
Yeah. So, again, kind of going back to my sister, of course, she has 3 children before me. Her youngest is the same age as Maddox, my oldest. So I had the opportunity, and I'm thankful that I had someone to look to for what do you do in pregnancy when you're working out, because she did it for hers.
Right.
And doing the open, like not skipping a beat in what she was doing. So I knew it was possible. I'm very fortunate, and again, not all pregnancies are held equal. All 3 of mine have been very easy in terms of no complications, no major morning sickness, like tiredness is really all that was there. So I really was able to keep up pretty consistent with my fitness the whole time. I think probably the most challenging part of working out when pregnant is, like I said, I'm competitive, and it's like kind of checking that ego, I guess, a little bit at the door of like, and not with anybody else in the room, but with myself of like, all right, I just can't do that. And as much as I see people on the pull-up bar or they're doing bar muscle-ups, like I just can't, and physically it's not the right thing for me to do. So that, I think, for me is hard, is just like remembering that pregnancy is a short-term phase of your life, and that if you do something that is going to hurt you or whatnot, it's just not worth it, because you're going to be out of this phase in 9 months and right back to it. I think it's funny because when I was thinking about coming on here, and again, I talk about my sister a lot because she gave me such great advice. When you're pregnant with the first, it's so different than the others, right? Because like it's almost easier with being pregnant with Maddox to have leaned into the tiredness and all the things, because when I wanted to rest, I got to just take a nap.
Right.
And as you have more kids, you can't just sit and take a nap and fall asleep. Like there's other things to be happening. So probably for him, I would say my laziest, in that like I kept very consistent, but probably not as much as I did for number 2 and number 3, which sounds kind of silly, right? Because it would be your first, you're ready to go. But with Callum and Esme, it was like, being home is not relaxing to me. And so, there's someone else that's asking you for this or demanding, they're like little dictators who are needing your help.
Yeah.
And so for me, being at the gym is equal parts physical and mental health. And so I need to check kind of that like mental health box. And so I would rather just bring my whole crew, even if I'm pregnant, to the gym, because then at least I get something out of it versus staying home and just leaning into the tiredness. It never helped me. It wasn't like I wasn't tired anymore.
Yeah.
So I think for Maddox, it probably was like, I kind of just leaned into things. I think I scaled things a little bit more. It was also my first. So I was just like figuring out my body and how things worked. And then also towards the end of my pregnancy with Maddox came COVID. So that was also a really unique time because he was born in April of 2020. So kind of my last month of pregnancy, it was gyms were shut down. I was trying to motivate myself in our apartment complex's gym, or like we borrowed a rower from my sister to bring in. And so it was like figuring out how to do that. Whereas with Esme and Callum, it was like life is back and open, and I was able to be here until the very moment that I delivered. So that was nice. I mean, as far as like my abilities, like every pregnancy is different. So there were things that went faster with one than the other. So it was also making sure I wasn't like comparing, like, all right, I was able to do this when I was pregnant with this one, and now I can't. And it's like I had to just be like okay with it because it is what it is, right? Like I stopped doing pull-ups a lot sooner with Callum than I did with Esme, or would have to change things. But for me, it's like just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean I'm not coming in here. I might scale movements, and of course I had to as time progressed.
Sure.
But the one thing I feel like, and again, you have to trust your body and know what you're capable of. I never felt like I let myself lose intensity. So even though I was coming in here and I might be scaling movements, I still walked out the door feeling like I got just as good of a workout as anybody else here not pregnant or in their like absolute fittest.
Sure. I think what I think I like about what you're saying is, one, I appreciate you being humble about, frankly, your pregnancy experience, because I do think there's a lot out there of like, and maybe I could be wrong and you could correct me, of like, when it comes to pregnancy, especially women who are used to being very fit, it's like, oh, I should be able to do this or I should be able to do that. And you have people online who it's like, just commit to it. And it's like, I love that you were like, to be fair, I had no complications. I had none of this. And it's like, that is a complete game changer. I'm sorry, it just is.
For sure, yeah.
Right? Like we had Stacy on, and she said with her pregnancy, she had morning sickness until 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's a game changer when it's like, you're in your car driving to the gym, like I could throw up at any moment.
For sure. Yeah, and that's again where I say like I'm so grateful that mine were. It really, I would say the biggest symptom was tiredness. And like I said, sometimes I let myself lean into it because you have to listen to your body.
Sure.
But sometimes I just knew that I'm going to be tired regardless. And so if I can get there and just like drown out a little bit of noise, I'd be better. But if I was throwing up, if I had other serious complications, or if I was at a high risk of any sort, like my experiences would be very different than they were.
Sure.
So I always like to say that because I think it's really easy to compare, to look to someone and say, oh, they're able to do this or they're able to do that. And like, you just don't know the backstory.
Yeah. And the other thing I realized when you were talking is, and I've never met your sister, but it sounds like you guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
And I think from talking to you, like your families get together quite a bit, right? The cousins hang out and play together.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool because you're right. You kind of get, pregnancy is interesting, right? So Nast, obviously, and she's one of my main, over the years has been my main go-to reference to be like, all right, talk anything pregnancy, right? And what I think she's always started with is, hey, here are some of the guidelines, but Mom, you have to listen to your body. And it's like, I know that's like this amalgamous term, like, how do I listen to my body, right? But it's cool when you have women who are very experienced in fitness like yourself, all the way to someone who's not super experienced. Like, you guys know when something doesn't feel quite right. Like, oh, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And she's always said, if you feel that way, cut it. Like, your body's telling you something.
Yeah.
So I think that's always a good thing to point out is women, when it comes to pregnancy, there are things that's like, an intuition.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that you brought up NAS too, because it's like even someone who say experienced in fitness as I am, or having done this for a long time, like this time around when I was pregnant with Callum and my third, it was really nice to have her. And there's a lot of the coaches down at Roseland that are just super knowledgeable about, what you should and shouldn't do in pregnancy. And so I'd sometimes be doing something, or I'd like kick up to the wall to do a handstand push-up, and I'd come down and kind of like look at her like, is that okay? Because, even I go by what feels right, but there's so much that's happening inside that you just don't realize. And that's a lot in the postpartum phase that I feel like you have to be cautious with. But there were a lot of things too that I, like this time around, I think I was a lot more conscious, even though I've been pregnant and worked out 3 times. I think because I know this is the last, and I didn't want to do anything that would harm me for the long. This is the last. I didn't want to do anything that was going to set me back even further than having to just come back from having a baby. And so that's why it's been nice to lean on a lot of the coaches at Roseland for things that I could do that were safe. And then also that it would just keep me engaged, like doing dead bugs all the time, or things like that would be like, it would deter you from wanting to go because you felt limited in what you could do. But then they've all been really great at giving other scalable options that made the workouts more fun.
Yeah, for sure. So now Callum's here, right? And so I've watched you lug everyone around. I've seen you bring Callum here.
Yeah.
Have you ventured to Roseland with all 3 or no?
So we did a Saturday workout maybe like last week, 2 weeks ago. And it's funny because he's not the problem. It's the 2.5-year-olds and even before the baby was born, she's the more difficult one now. but we make it work and we figure it out. So yeah, we've been together as a family. Actually, I think we're going to head there tonight too for a second go around. But yeah. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so walk me through what that whole process looks like.
Bringing the family to the gym?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So for me, obviously, I would love to go to the gym by myself.
Disclaimer, this is not what I prefer.
Yeah, well, but it's funny because I do and I don't, because I think there's such incredible benefit to my kids sitting here and seeing that fitness is just a part of our life, that it's just something that we do, that mommy being strong is cool, and just that we make it a priority. So not that I want to bring them all the time, but I am happy that they're in this community and environment. But for me, like I said, so much of being at the gym is mental and physical. So it goes like this. Can I go to the gym today alone? And the answer more often than not is no, because even if the kids are all in daycare and I'm back to work, it's just because I work from home, it's still a full-time job. Yeah. I'm on Zoom all the time, so it's not like I can just cut out for a 12 o'clock workout and come home because I look like a mess. Right. So it's, can I go to the gym by myself? The answer is most of the time no. And it's like, if I bring the kids, can I go? And more often than not, the answer there is yes. And so then it's like, well, me bringing the kids in, I might not get the same workout. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I won't know that unless I show up.
Sure.
And so having kids have operated of I'm not just going to assume I know how this is going to go and not go because it could be a disaster. I'm going to go, do everything I can to make it work. And if it becomes a disaster, I pack up my stuff and I walk out the door. Which I can vividly remember when Esme was a baby. I walked in one day, Maddox is sitting there doing his thing, and I just knew she wasn't going to let me get in a workout. So I just called it and I said, I'm just leaving.
Yeah.
But in anything, moms are incredible planners. You have to go in with kind of like a plan when you bring your family to the gym. I mean, one is really nice when we go as a full family. Obviously, Rob is there, so we can kind of balance it out a little bit. Maybe sometimes we turn a workout into like a partner workout where we're just, passing a kid back and forth while the other one's doing it. But I've been doing this long enough that I can look at a workout and be able to say, all right, if the wheels fall off the wagon here, how can I change this workout to accommodate the kids? Like the other day we were doing lunges and Esme was being wild, so I turned them into Esme weighted lunges. Yep. So I figure out a way to do it, but I think to your point before, first and foremost, if you're going to bring your kids to the gym, there is such an element of respect to the rest of the community that you need to have. Safety, obviously, is super important. And I've been bringing the kids since they were all babies, so they're kind of just very used to the environment. If I inserted Esme into a gym today with her never experiencing it before, it would be probably very different.
Yeah.
So we come, prepared for it to go downhill. school. But I come prepared with iPads and snacks and dinners and food and, put it there and just hope that I can get out of the workout what I need to. But I mean, to that point, like especially the Roseland community has welcomed my family, like so with open arms, to the point where when I walk into the gym, it's like, when I come by myself, it's like, where is everybody else? And it's like, am I not enough?
That's so funny because I've done that.
I know you have. Everybody does. But it's, and it's nice because it is funny. A lot of the members that have been at Roseland since I started and are still there, they've seen my family grow.
Yes.
They've seen, like, I'll walk in and they'll be like, wow, she's so big. Or, look at Maddox, he's in kindergarten. And so it's sweet to know that my family is a member. It's not just like Rob and I being members of the gym. But I hope that the rest of the community there will agree that we do our very best to keep it safe, respectful, and the moment that it becomes, not everybody wants to bring their kids to the gym.
Right.
So I respect the fact that people are escaping their kids. I can't let my family impact their experience.
And I think that's a great call because, I mean, listen, being a parent is hard, and trying to find time for yourself is really hard. I mean, you're in the thick of it. Like, I nonchalantly threw it on a podcast recently that my wife is pregnant.
Oh, okay. So
so
it's out in the air.
Yeah. Nicole, you know her from Sparta, right? Yeah. You do? So she texted me. She's like, oh, just threw that in there nonchalantly.
That's so funny.
But, I remember, my kids are a little bit older, and it's like, at your kid's age, it's like, you can't even go to the bathroom without someone being like, Mom, I need help with X, Y, or Z, right? Yeah. And so that's tough to find time for yourself. And so, like, I do appreciate, one, like I said, I've always tried to work with our staff to be like, okay, we don't want to let kids be the barrier, but we also need to keep people safe.
For
and
sure.
So it's like a conversation of like, you can bring your kids, but if they're going to run amok, then they can't come.
Yeah.
And so I do appreciate you and Rob because, like you said, not every time you guys come does it go swimmingly, right?
Yep.
But it's like to have the respect for the class to be like, all right, we're going to go in the corner, we'll corral them. If it gets crazy, one of us will take the kids while the other works out, or we'll leave, or whatever the case may be, I think is good, because unfortunately we have had situations that have not gone that way. And then it's like, I hate having to be the jerk of like, I now have to have a conversation with you and be a jerk about your kids being here because God forbid they run underneath someone snatching.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like, it would be awful.
Yeah. And so I mean, that's where, again, like, would I love to go to the gym by myself all the time? Sure. But that's just in our life. Rob commutes into this city 4 days a week. And so, like, for our schedules, it's just impossible. And the other thing about that too is, like I said, Rob and I met at the gym. It's always kind of been like a family thing for us to go to. So to think that, okay, you're going to go to this class and I'm going to go to this class just because we don't want to have the kids. Sometimes that's the way that it is, but I don't like that. I like that it's become a family thing, but my head is always on a swivel for that reason. But again, everyone's different. I would rather that and have the family go together and be there than say, okay, Rob, you're going to go this day and this day, and I'm going to go this day and this day, so that we can shuttle the classes, because I just don't think it's necessary. But again, I will continue to say it's not for everybody,
right,
but it's the way that it works for us.
Well, and I also think it's cool that when you're a parent and you're in that stage, and it's hard, especially someone who's athletic, to be like the old kindergarten adage, I'm going to get what I get and I'm not going to get upset, right? Like, as I've gotten older, I've gotten way better to be at like that too. It's like, I got 45 minutes, I got an hour. The alternative is I don't work out.
Exactly.
And if I don't work out and you start stacking days that you pack it in because of the kids or work or whatever, you don't feel good. Mm-hmm. For me, and it sounds like you're the same, all of a sudden we're mental patients, right? like
I wouldn't go as far as mental patients.
I'm a mental patient.
No, but I get it. Yeah, very much the same.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is, and you mentioned it and it popped into my head when you said it, is like, one of the other cool things about being at the gyms is you do get to see people's families grow up, which is really cool. I mean, to see your family, I mean, I remember Maddox being in his PJs, on the tablet while you're
always in PJs.
While you're pregnant and trying to work out, and now Esme, and I joked with Allison off the podcast that for those of you that don't know, they bring an actual swing to the gym and they'll tie the swing on the pull-up bars. And I hadn't been at Roseland in a while because I was buzzing around. And I remember walking in and it was like Cirque du Soleil. It was
in between reps, I would just give her a push legit. And I turn out to go do my thing.
And I'm like, you're killing it, Mom. So I think that's really cool. I mean, even like we've had kids take their first steps at our gyms. Like it's really, really cool. And then, like you said, it's like these kids grow up with like, no, this is normal.
Yeah. Being
active and in shape is normal. And it's like my kids went through this. And it's like and this is not for everyone, but in our family, we don't have anyone who like smokes cigarettes. And so like when they see someone, they're like, they're like, what is that? Right. You know what I mean? So versus someone, if you grow up with parents who do smoke, not that it's a guarantee, but there's an increased chance that it's a normal thing for you, right?
Right.
And so it's cool to be able to just normalize fitness as like, no, being in shape, being active is normal. And so, yeah, you and Rob are definitely a testament to that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely important. And then, we also, in bringing the kids, it's worked out that we would take the 7:15 class. And so, yes, my kids are always in their pajamas because we bring them dinner, they come to the 7:15 class. And it's like instead of being home and letting them get their nighttime energy out at home, we just bring them to the gym and do it. But after the class, they'll jump on a pull-up bar. Maddox will be rope climbing or something like that. On the Saturdays, you see more families come on Saturdays, like later in the morning. And it's just nice to see them like exposed to this. I didn't even know that a pull-up bar existed until later on in life. So it'll be cool to watch how fitness and just sport in general, is with them, having seen this from a young age.
Yeah. So you and Rob have a lot to balance right now. And soon, I hate to break it to you, you're going to have even more to balance because it sounds like in a month you go back to work as much as you hate it.
Yeah.
What one piece of advice would you give someone, as I put it, going through the thick of it like you guys are?
So, because I have to give myself this like pep talk sometimes, it's like that. It's like giving yourself grace and I think not holding on to like an expectation of what it should be or what you want it to be. And I say that in like, there'll be weeks where I'm like, okay, we didn't go a lot last week and I'm like not feeling my best. And this week I can go to these classes and I kind of like plan out my week and then bam, a stomach bug comes or the baby doesn't sleep. So like, even though technically I could get to the gym, I'm exhausted because I've been up all night. And so it's like not letting yourself hold on to that and just like kind of like let it go because that is inevitably going to happen and you're going to have a plan and then it's going to go astray. And kids in pregnancy are the best excuse to not go to the gym. But to what we've been saying, like try and not use them unless you have to because you don't have to sometimes.
Yeah.
You can get creative. You can figure out a way to kind of like make it work. And that's, again, insert where the kids come a lot because I might want to go, especially with work. I work from home. Sometimes like the idea of coming to a 9 o'clock or a 12 o'clock sounds great, but then I work in sales. Somebody calls me and I need to do something, so I can't go to the noon class. Well, I was intending on going by myself today, but now I can't. So it's like, all right, pivot, kids, you're coming to the gym with me.
Right.
So it's just like not really holding on to that. Let them be an excuse when you have to be, but get creative and figure out a way to just get it in if it's important to you.
Right.
And just, like give yourself grace. It's hard and it's all the seasons are changing now. We're in the 5-year-old stage. So we're in the activities now, which is very different from like the littles where they can just come anywhere with you. So it's just, you got to embrace it all. But if you keep fitness a priority, there's a way that you can do it and make it a family affair, which a lot of times takes some of that stress off of like, when can I find time to get there?
I love that. Cool. This was a lot of fun.
Great. This was it? That seems like such a short little chat.
That's it. That's all it is. But before we hop off, just so this is on record, you have to send me videos of Maddox wrestling.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we're not there yet, but we will get
when
there.
It happens.
I think he has a match in 2 weeks.
It is something. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It is something.
Yeah, I will. What's been hard for him and me is that the practices are in the wrestling room, so you can't watch.
Yes.
So I have actually no idea what's happening in there. So it'll be interesting. I love it. I think I was not like, we have 2 daughters. We were not into wrestling as girls when we were growing up. It's very new to Rob and I both, but I'm embracing the change.
I love it.
Yeah.
It gets me so excited.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
As always, hey, if you see Allison, Rob, and the whole friggin' crew at one of our gyms, say hello. As always, guys, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform you listen on. See you at the gym.